And hello, everyone. This is Chris from Feldgrau Productions for the July 2022 roundup of 10mm Warmaster and Fantasy STLs, Patreon and otherwise. Now, just a bit of a note, this will be a short one because there's a decent number of creators taking a break this month for the summer, as well as a few creators who are still affected by the war in Ukraine. Also note that all the photos have been drawn from their sculptors' Patreons or social media pages, and I claim no ownership of these photos. So up first, as usual, is Forest Dragon. In July, Forest Dragon is going to continue to round out their reptilian army. Patrons will receive the reptilian hulks, probably better known as Croxigars, and also a hero on Behemosaur. The Behemosaur can also come without that hero. There's also a smaller lizard hero included. You can see down there on the bottom. Now, at the more expensive Glade Noble tier, as well as merchants, they're going to get a unit of the Dire or Dark Elf Blood Seekers, some Berserk Witches, as well as a infantry hero with a little baby dragon perched on his shoulder. July is the start of a new army for Greenskin Miniatures, who took the previous month off, I believe, and this is the Kings of the Sand. This month, they're starting with a Lich Priest, as well as Skeleton Bowmen, and two different sculpts of these large hulking bone giants. Now, although Onmyoji said that he would be taking a break during July, he must have decided otherwise because we do have some new releases this month. Mixed into the 28mm scale figures that he usually releases, the 10mm likely include an Egyptian mummy mage, an Egyptian skeleton mage, an Egyptian lich on a throne being carried by some constructs, and a sacred scarab. Now, I say likely because I am not subscribed to his Patreon, and the 10mm preview post is not public, as well as his My Mini Factory page does not include the scale of the minis. So if on Myoji, if you're listening, that information on My Mini Factory would be great, so customers know what scale they are getting of STLs. These also look fantastic if you were to mix them in with some of the other Tomb Kings STL sets that are out there. Now, Tordominis has made a change to their Patreon this month. They'll be splitting their Patreon into two different tiers, Mini Blasphemy and Mini Fantasy. Mini Blasphemy is going to include both 15mm and 6mm grimdark sci-fi miniatures. Our interest, however, is in the original work on the Mini Fantasy tier, which is going to continue to include 10mm strips of fantasy figures and will now also include 15mm singles of those same fantasy sculpts. And this month in the Mini Fantasy tier, there are Excess Demons and Dragon Dynasty crossbows. If you do want to get both sets of sculpts, the Fantasy and the Sci-Fi Blasphemy tiers, there are a discounted combined tier. Finally, for the Patreons is Varus Miniatures. Now, Varus is still paused on billing and has told me that he plans on starting billing and regular releases in September. At least that's the plan. This month, there is a 6-month subscriber reward of Archaon, the Ever-Chosen. Personally, I think his Archaon is fantastic looking, and I think it looks so good you could probably scale it right up to 28mm, and it would still look great. The cloak might look a little bit thick, but just looks fantastic. Not much else to say there. Now on to the non-Patreon releases. Cromarty Forge has been very busy in the 15mm world, updating their 10mm historicals to 15. But in the 10mm realm, they have a set of terrain magic items, a number of, it looks like tombs and magic items, variety of swords, scepters, rings, crowns, and then also some golems to lug these magic items and their little stone display things around the battlefield for you. So if you're looking for some tiny 10mm objectives, got some really great options here. Those swords, maybe even slide them into a Bretonnian army as part of a peasant unit carrying around some sort of saint. Polish Lightning Minis is continuing their Eastern Dynasties line, now adding veteran ogres, really nailing both the ogre and the Eastern look and drawing a little bit on Japanese Oni imagery. And that is about it for this month. As I said, it's a bit of a small month with lots of people on vacation. So please let me know if there are any creators out there that I've missed, still trying to make this resource as complete as possible, although some creators that are off the list this month are simply off because they're on a break. As always, make sure you keep on printing, keep on painting, and keep on playing.